This is shell number 5, and shell number 6 will be very similar to this. I want to just try and experiment and see if there's any visible difference between using rice hulls, BP on rice hulls, which is what I'm going to use for this shell here, or 2FA as the burst charge in the centre tube. I'm just curious to know if it makes much difference, if you can see any difference, gives a wider burst or whatever. And this is a 5-inch shell. It's got 4.5 seconds timing. I'm using a time fuse. As with most of my time fuses, I put them in this little red Spolette tube, give it some strength and give me plenty of length and some area to paste, put the paste layer around the outside here. The centre tube's being fitted in, and I'm going to be using fairly large, these are 3/4, some of them are a little bit bigger, 3/4 inch charcoal stars, and I found this formulation on the Skylighter website. They're described as willow. They're 64% nitrate, 13% airfloat charcoal, 9% 80 mesh charcoal, 9% sulfur and 5% dextrin. I put a little bit extra dextrin in there. There's probably 6% in there. I want them really nice and hard. And because they're so big, I put a liner in there. There's 2 turns of 18-point brown chipboard liner inside the shell, and the liner is 4.5 inches high. Now this is my canal, which I use for a 5-inch shell. It's just over 1.5 inches diameter. It's made of copper, and it's got a knurled top on it here to pull it out of the casing easily. Now because the stars are so big, I don't want the burst charge to migrate from the centre here when I put it into the canal into the area where the stars are. So I'm just going to roll the canal up and make a little bag out of this thin paper. I don't know what the proper name for this paper is. It's a lot stronger than tissue paper, you know, toilet paper. It's the kind of thing you see brand new shirts wrapped in, or sometimes in a box of, you know, a new pair of shoes has this kind of thin paper, and it's quite shiny, but very thin, quite strong for its thickness. It won't affect the shell burst in any way whatsoever. It will burn away instantly when the charge goes off. Now I roll it up. I've got two turns on here, and because it's so thin, you need to be a bit careful when you put the glue on there. If you put too much on, it will soak through and end up sticking the canal to the paper. So just a tiny bit there, don't wet it too much. And just roll it up. Now I slide it off about 1.5 inches or so, and now just tear these back. Tear some tabs back on the bottom here. So they make little flaps, which 4 will do it like that. Okay. And now, when I insert this into my casing, those little flaps sit on the bottom there, and when I fill the outside of the canal with stars, it'll trap the paper. It'll trap the paper in there, and as I withdraw the copper tube, it makes sure the paper doesn't come out with it. So I just place my casing on a little ring here of, it's actually an old roll of paper tape that got wet. Get it in the centre. I fill it about 1/3 full. I actually counted out, just for the sake of curiosity, how many stars there are in here. With the 4.5 inch liner, there's 190 3/4 inch stars will fit inside this 4.5 inch high case. A little wooden dowel, just tamp it down a bit. as I did with the spiderweb star, some Polverone just to fill up the spaces in between these fairly large cut stars. We want the casing nice and tight. Some more stars. A little more Polverone. Give it a squeeze, make sure that what you put in so far is nice and tight. If it isn't and you fill the shell up, it's pretty difficult to consolidate it tighter at a later point. Wrap it on the table a little. Okay, you can see we're about 2/3 full now. I fill the last third. Just drop a few more in any spaces you can see that will take a few more stars. You want stars in there, not loads of Polverone. Okay, that's more Polverone. I guess there's about 3 small handfuls of Polverone in there now. Okay, we're just filled up to below the 1/16 of an inch below the liner, the top of the liner in there. And now I want to put my burst charge in. This one I'm going to use the rice holes, and then the other one, which will be an identical shell to this, will have 2FA, which is my normal burst charge. That's 2 1/4 cups in there so far. I like to just tamp it down a little bit. If you just put your finger on the edge there, you can see that we're just a little bit below the top of the thing there, so just a little bit more. Okay, I'm just a little way above the level of the stars now. So that's taken just over 1/2 cup of rice holes to fill that 1.5 inch canal. And now, if you just twist it left and right, and pull it, just look inside, make sure that the burst isn't coming up with the tube as you withdraw it. If it does, you can always drop the dowel in there and just put your chin on it or something, and as you withdraw the pipe, push down on it. Okay, so we have the burst charge in the middle there, and now this little bag here, I just fold it over a little bit and just tear the top off it. Fold it down in the centre like that. Okay, and then we have the burst charge in the centre, the stars and the Polverone arranged around the outside. And I've got a few spaces just here where the top of the liner is. So just before I put the end disc on, I'm just going to put another measure of Polverone on the top. Okay, you can see it's just standing proud a little of the top of the liner. But Now when I put my end disc in and give it a tamp, it'll push everything nice and tight. Okay, and one final check to make sure that you really haven't got any soft spots anywhere on the case. That's lovely, that's nice and hard. Okay, as we did with the first end, now you just pleat down your layers one by one. The second turn completed, so just tamp it down again. Get those pleats nice and crisp. Okay, that's the last turn going down there.